for YouTube and the people at YouTube to consider. Does repetitive vaccinations prevent people gaining natural immunity? Is it a right to gain natural immunity as there's an equal right to seek vaccination? What is the right in that case? So a self-determination right has been promoted by the left in regards to gays and blacks and every other cause they've taken on as a politically correct cause right through to Hollywood, which most of us agree with. We're not into labelling people or judging people because they take a stand about their life. So therefore, how can anyone at all in that pattern, in that theme of thinking, then therefore have to try to enforce the idea of everyone having to be vaccinated when the question needs to be asked of everyone? Does repeated vaccinations then take away natural biological means to protection in the future against pathogens by becoming reliant on a vaccine for all our immunity, which this is what this is suggesting? Does that not destroy humanity's natural ability to adapt over several generations to any new pathogen, which is the natural, sustainable, biological model that has been around forever? Because the biological model sustains humans through a crisis of population degradation, which there has been many instances of in the past. We can include the biblical flood, because the biblical flood is a story, regardless whether people believe in the Bible or not. The idea of the flood, which wiped out much of humanity, knows it's just a story, but it wiped out much of humanity because sometime 10, 12,000 years ago, there was a great catastrophe that wiped out much of humanity. So when you've got a pathogen and maybe a vaccination that can damage humanity's ability to adapt to new pathogens and new systems, you've got the possibility of damaging the potential for all humans, no matter who or what they are or what they think are, to survive through the next catastrophe, which may be accommodating, or really, if climate change gets ahead and all the glaciers collapse, then how mankind survives that? It will wipe so many people if suddenly it gets very cold in the north for a long time, which it can do. The Gulf Stream stops and it can turn very cold in the north. Millions of people, billions of people will be affected and die. Millions will die because of that. So when you introduce a vaccine as well as a virus, the virus people will begin to build a tolerance to, and some will probably suffer because of it. That's normal and natural. And it's also normal and natural for humans to get over problems of pathogens as they have done in the past, been through many plagues. Everyone fears death, but nonetheless, a vaccination may curtail the natural, sustainable, biological model that has brought about society coming to this point in its existence, which is as part of the continuum. And how much longer humans have got anyway will be determined by this and how AI is used to replace them. But also how the young people may want to create new avenues of thinking in regard to what sustainability means, in regards to their own health and what they eat and how they think about they live, and how much commercialism or the idea of wanting lots of goods and stuff, how they think about that might be another way of reducing their burden upon the planet. Because by being more self-sufficient in an individual and less demanding on the system, you become more caring naturally to the planet and learn to live sustainably. So the whole thing is a holistic philosophy about sustainability that I care to bring to people, because I do not care for this or that model, black or white model, because it's more nuanced than that. The people on the right who think they've got this, well, so-called right, but it's not really. It's just a thing they've got, the right to as much as they can, as fast as they can, as easy as they can. And the left seem to want to join into that, but they've got another way of doing it. Grab it. Don't have to work for it. And that combines then to force two sides, well, both want the same thing, control over the capital, and share the capital around one way or the other. And that is creating all sorts of tensions within America. And the people who are above all of this, who finance it all, they want to put some sort of controls over humanity, and I think they're not giving humanity a chance by communicating with them in a more open and natural manner, and give respect to all humans. There are right of equal respect for everyone, and I think that's the way to deal with this massive problem that the overburden of population is on the planet, and the change the planet's going through, and having to feed everyone. And it needs a really positive story, not a totally negative, it's all about an evil. We need to know how to get out of this. But people becoming, it's not the governments doing everything. Everyone's leaving it down to governments. But it's really up to individuals, I think, and none of governments, individuals at the top, the Hollywood stars and all those people, to start thinking, can I do with a lot less? Do I need this big house? Why do I need such a big, massive house just for me, the person, and my wife, and a couple of servants, or whatever? Why do I need it? To say, look, I've made it. Well, yeah, what have you made? A big house. What have you created for yourself? All right, you've got there by this way or the other. But can you fix a car or paint a picture or play some music? Many people can, of course. But the thing is, in the end, it's not the size of the house you're in, but you in the house that matters. And no matter how big and wealthy and happy and you are and all that sort of stuff, you still go for divorces and deaths and children doing all sorts of things and causing all sorts of upsets. So those things that upset everyone equally, no matter how rich you are. And it brings us all down to earth, where how we see ourselves on this planet, no matter how rich or how poor we are, is that we don't want to do a little harm as possible to the planet. And those people, the rule will be, those people who do least harm to their own bodies, will do least harm to the planet. And those people who demand least out of the system, but do keep themselves in the healthiest position possible they can, will do least harm to the planet. It's just very, very simple. It's very, very simple. Happiness really is an extremely simple thing indeed. And happiness seems to be, everyone's been seeking happiness but they seem to be making themselves and everyone else unhappy by looking in the wrong direction. Simplicity is the key, not complexity, to the future of humanity.